What's going on, live stream peeps? This is another episode of Storytime with the Roopster. I'm doing two things. I'm going live on TikTok over here, but then also on this camera through the Riverside app. I got the camera facing our printer so that you can kind of see the printer in action, right? So the actual print on this one is actually towards the corner. I'm going to put my finger on there. Well, I'm going to point at it over here for Riverside. Right. Right. Can you see my finger? Right there. I guess you couldn't see it. So what we're doing here, front and center, is we're printing a vinyl banner. We're printing on mesh material. So it's going for our friends at Open Sky RV. They've already ordered two or three different banners, different sizes, right? And so one of the ones that we did was had some wind slits on it, and is that wind slits on it. And this one right here is going to be a coming soon banner. Nothing real like major in terms of design. So it's just it's a yellow background with black text. It's going to be bold and something that's going to catch the attention of the drivers by. But this one is going on a fence, and so we made the suggestion to print on some mesh vinyl. So mesh is pretty cool because it's got a bunch of little holes similar to the perforated vinyl that we put on windows. But this is a scrim vinyl material, and so the wind can go, can flow through the different holes in the mesh. But the design looks like a solid print, which is pretty cool. Over here on Riverside, you can just kind of see what's going on. The print. Oh, my bad. I was pointing you guys in the wrong direction, but there it is right there. It's that yellow right there. It's just 12 inches by 6 feet. So it's 6 feet long and 12 inches tall. And it's just a small banner in terms of what we can do. As you can see, this printer right here is a 54-inch printer. I take that back. It's a 64-inch material, but printer, but the material is 54 inches. So that's 4.5 feet. And so we technically on this material right here we can do a 4-foot banner, on this material. And we try to stick within the 54-inch rolls. I guess we can get 62 on vinyl, but we don't really get a lot of requests for that, except for some banners are 5x10, so we go ahead and order the bigger material. But for the most part, we're doing 3x6 or 4x8s, 2x4s, things of that nature. We do those all the time. And so this part of the process is just the printing process. I have a take-up reel at the bottom that I'm going to have to get up and attach the vinyl to, so that way it can roll up. So I can print another one right behind this. So if you need a mesh banner, go ahead and hit me up. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, go ahead and send us a direct message. My wife, she manages our business page, and so we can get you squared up while I got the roll on there. We can help you with that. She'll give you pricing and all of that stuff. On TikTok, send us a direct message, and then we can we can help you from there. Just depending on if you have the artwork ready and that kind of deal. That kind of stuff is what influences the turnaround, right? Oftentimes we get people ask us, how long does it take to do a banner? Well, this one right here is going to be done in a couple of minutes, but I already prepared the artwork, a couple of days ago. So there's a difference between how long it actually takes the printer to do it and how long it takes us to set up your artwork, recreate your artwork, go back and forth and get the design approval, those types of things. So it's all relative to the customer. Sometimes customers, they already have their artwork already ready to go. They send it to us so we can move a lot faster, right? Now it just depends on what we got already scheduled, on the books and on our calendar. But on the flip side of that, there's customers who they don't know what they want. They know they want a banner, but they don't know what design they want on it. Maybe they don't even have a logo. It's a new business. So the first step is like, okay, so where are you at in the process, of starting your business. You have a logo already, you have an idea of, you know, uh, what you want the banner to do, what are the colors that that are inside of your brand. Um, Nowadays, there's some companies that they put together what's called a brand kit, and so brand kits are really, really, really awesome because whenever we get a customer that has a brand kit, we know the RGB codes, the CMYK codes, basically the color codes to their logos. We know the fonts that they use. We already have uh, logos that are print ready, so they're going to be vectorized, or if it's a raster image, it's going to be a high resolution image that's ready to print. And that's something that really needs to be talked about a little bit more is, do you have a print ready design? That's something that my wife and I, we have that conversation almost on a daily basis with customers. Is like, is your artwork ready to print? I'll talk about that a little bit more. uh, the banner's about to reach the roll, so I got to get some tape on it, so that way the take-up reel can take it, so it doesn't hit the ground and get all dirty and all that stuff. uh, and so I think it's right about there. Give me 1 second. I'll get that locked in and then come right back and talk about that. All right, I'm back. So with the take-up reel, I have uh, a it's a 3-inch media core. It's the little cardboard core that is in between the material, and so I have a bunch of them just all over the place. I even got, I don't know, like 10 to 15 uh, that are up on a rack. I guess a rack is waiting for me to print something and put it on a roll and things like that. So I have them all over the place, and that way, whenever this gets done, if we're changing out material, I'll trim the material, put it to the side until I'm ready to put grommets, and then I'll change the material and print, whatever's next. The decals, vehicle wraps, stickers, whatever the case may be. And so, but talking about print ready artwork. Um, so I guess the simplest way to describe print ready artwork is, it's a file that all I got to do is, you know, put it into our RIP software, or the software that's connected to the printer, and just hit send, hit print, and it's ready to go. And it's the right size, it's the right resolution. There's no pixelation. Everything is ready to go. Right? That's print ready. And so print ready doesn't mean a PDF file. It doesn't mean a PNG file. It doesn't mean, a JPEG or TIFF. Those file extensions, matter, but that doesn't always mean that it's print ready. You can actually save a JPEG, right? A low resolution JPEG. You can save that as a PDF. You can save it as depending on the software that you use, an SVG, EPS, TIFF, all of those file extensions. You can save it as that, but that doesn't mean that it's print ready. There are certain objects on every design that can be vectorized. That vectorized is, it's obviously it's a design process that can scale. It doesn't matter how big you make the design. It's always going to be, solid or almost perfect resolution. And typically it's going to be objects and shapes and text that could be vectorized, right? And then you got your raster images, which are photos and images that that can't necessarily be vectorized. I guess that's how the best way to say it. And so, but those things have to be at a high resolution. Most cameras today, even your cell phone cameras, can take really high resolution pictures. So if you were to send us a picture from a from your cell phone and just said, all I do is I want that printed, on a poster, that's it. In most cases, in the new smartphones, it's going to be good to go, right? The only but if you take a picture of another picture, right, and that picture was taken a long time ago with a Polaroid camera, that's something completely different, right? And so, or also if it's like your personal artwork, we've had to take pictures of artwork from local artists, and they wanted us to print posters, right? And so, I had to get up there with my camera and just be really steady and then take a good picture, so that way, my phone was going to take a good picture of it. Uh, but it's not the same as if it's designed in the software and sent to us, right? So it's just a lot of different things that you know that play a part into your artwork being ready. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that while I'm doing printing. Usually on the story time with the Rooster, I'm talking specifically about the design that I'm doing, but I wanted to take a little bit more time and just kind of talk to you guys about the whole process. For anyone who is maybe just now connecting with us, I know on TikTok I can see there's new people that are coming, that are connecting with our company. My name is Ruben Escalona. I'm the owner, and I'm an owner operator of a company called Red Apple Custom Prints. We're located in Abilene, Texas, which is West Texas. If you're not familiar with Texas, we're not as west as El Paso, but we're kind of, and we're not central Texas, like Arlington or Dallas or Fort Worth. So we're considered West Texas, right? It's hot over here. And so we're located in West Texas, and we serve Abilene and the surrounding community, surrounding cities. And Abilene, in this area, we're kind of like the central city, almost like a small, a miniature metroplex, right? So, the smaller cities like Hamlin and Haskell and Stamford and all the way to Cisco and you know, Clyde, those little cities, uh, they all will come to Abilene to order their stuff, their prints, right? And so we're one of a handful of companies that can handle your signs, your banners, your stickers, perforated vinyl on your commercial windows, vehicle wraps, trailer wraps. We also do T-shirts and embroidery, all of that stuff, right? So we're one of a handful of print shops located in Abilene that service, Abilene and the surrounding cities. So when you put everybody together, that's a lot of people, right? And so, and if you're somewhere in another city, like in a bigger city, we can help you too. We can ship all over the United States, which we do a lot of during Christmas season, during our ugly sweater season. We sell quite a bit of ugly Christmas sweaters, uh, original designs and special requests and things like that during Christmas, and we'll do right around the end of November. We start promoting that and going heavy with that stuff, and then usually those kind of things are the things that keep us busy. Except for this past year. This past year we were doing that, and we were still getting requests for um, you know, box trucks and vehicle wraps and things like that. So, we're definitely getting busier. So the coming is already printed. You guys see that? And so it's about to go soon. It's inverted over here with the Riverside app. I think that once it's broadcast, it'll be the right way. But yeah, so it's just yellow, uh, and so this yellow is actually part of the. It's the same yellow that's in the sun in the big open sky RV banners that we did. They came to us to get some big 4x8 banners whenever they first started establishing themselves. And so we did those banners, and then the whenever he reordered these right here, he said, I want to use the same yellow that's in the sun in the other banners. And so what I did is I just opened up FlexiSign, which is the software that we use for it's our RIP software that we use to send the artwork to the printer. And but then I dragged and dropped the banner design into that canvas, and I just used the eyedropper and hovered right there with the sun, so that way I could get the exact color that the customer was looking for. And so whenever you order from us, after we put together the design, we prepare a what I call a digital proof, which is just it's a digital rendering of what your design is going to look like. So that way you can look at the placement, you can look at color, you can make sure that we got everything right. Hopefully we don't misspell it, but that's an opportunity for the customer to look at the design and make sure that we didn't misspell your name or misspell surrounding. We've done that before. We misspelled surrounding, and it happens. My wife and I are both, you know, I don't want to sound arrogant or nothing like that, but we're pretty smart. We're literate. We know how to read and all that stuff, and we know how to spell surrounding. But sometimes we just have so much going on that we miss a little detail, right? And so, fortunately for us, our customers are really cool. They're just like, hey, it's no big deal. Can you fix it? Just print a little patch over it or something like that. And we do that when we can. If not, if we have to reprint, we have to reprint. That's just the way it goes. And so after this banner right here, once this is done, I'll probably log off. I'll stop this story time, and then we got two 4x8 banners that we're going to print for the Buffalo Gap Chamber of Commerce for a 4th of July event that they got going on. And so I'll probably log back on and kind of talk a little bit about that, as well, and see what kind of stories that I can tie into that. But yeah, I mean, I figured if I got the printer running, this is a perfect opportunity to kind of sit around and just kind of record some videos and see if we can't gain some new followers. Sometimes people, whenever they come across your video, if you're just scrolling, you might come across one of my live videos and say, hey, this guy seems pretty cool. I'd like to give him a shot at earning our business, which I don't mind doing. If you represent an organization here in Abilene, or it doesn't really matter, right? Like, you got some print projects that you have need of our services here in the near future. I would love the opportunity to compete for your business. We don't compete on price necessarily, right? I try to compete on quality, customer service, try to have a reasonable turnaround, those kind of things. But sometimes we're just the right person, right? Sometimes it's not always the flashiest person that gets the business. It's not always the even the most skilled or talented, right? It's the person who's available. And I used to have a saying where I was talking about local business, right? So local business in my perception, it's changed over the last few years, right? Local business to me, it doesn't mean it doesn't just mean the company who is right down the street from you. To me, local business is the person who is the fewest clicks away. Who can get to who responds faster, who is more readily available to answer your questions. We have won business and we have lost business because we were fast to respond, or we were too slow. Right. By the time we responded, that person had already found someone who picked up the phone and said, "I already got helped by XYZ company down the street." Right. And then vice versa. We've gotten business from companies where they said the reason, one of the main reasons why I did business with you is because you just simply answered the phone. You answered my question whenever I asked you. I asked you the same question that I asked, 3 or 4 other companies, and you're the only one who responded, right? And that's something that, as a business owner, you know, that's something that I can control. I can't necessarily control if I'm as talented as the guy down the road, or fast at doing it, or anything like that. All I can do is really manage what I have in my hands and do the best that I can, right? But when it comes to uh, like responding, answering the phone, and giving you an answer to your question, those types of things, that's something that I should be able to do right away, and that's something that I pride myself. And as a company, we pride ourselves at being fast at responding, right? Usually within an hour during business hours. If you contact us out of business hours, it's one of those things. If I'm not by my phone, or if it's after hours, I may not even, I'll silence my phone until the next morning or something like that. Or if it's a weekend and we're out of town and not working, those types of deals. But even on the weekend, to tell you the truth, I'm connected to my phone, and if I see a message and I can respond to it, I normally will do that. Uh, just respond right away. But so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. That banner's already printed. So if you guys had any question, how long does it take to print a banner? Look here and see how long have I been on here. I can't even see the thing. Oh, this one right here, about 15 minutes, right? So I was talking for about 5 minutes while I was setting this up, and so I don't have the printer printing at super high speed. I make sure that it's got the quality. It's on quality mode, right? So it's not on. There is a mode for banner mode, which goes a lot faster. So it probably would have done that in about 5 minutes. So it just depends. I probably could have printed this one on banner mode because it wasn't. It's just a solid background with text on it. But then I would have had to talk faster, right? And so I like to take my time. Over here in West Texas, we like to take our time whenever we're talking, right? If I have to say it fast, then maybe we should reschedule. Or maybe it shouldn't even be a conversation. If you have to talk fast, it should probably be a text or an email, right? But whenever we're trying to tell a story like this right here, we got to take our time and sit back and just make sure we get the setting right, and so that way you can get context of the story, that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, that is it for now. If you're following us on TikTok and you haven't yet followed us on Facebook or any of the other ones, find us on Facebook, Red Alpha Custom Prints, YouTube, Red Alpha Custom Prints Abilene. Obviously we're here on TikTok. We're also on LinkedIn. I have a personal profile on LinkedIn, but then I also have a profile for our business, Red Alpha Custom Prints. Where else are we? Uh, Instagram, we're on Instagram, Red ACP. And so yeah, just find us, connect with us. Sometimes I post, about a Chick-fil-A sandwich that changed my life, right? Sometimes I'm talking about printing banners. We have a blog that we post. We do blog posts every single day. It's called Behind the X's and O's. We do a weekly live podcast. It's called, the Red Alpha Mugshot Mondays. And so every Monday, my wife and I, we get on here and we talk about coffee. We talk about the projects we got going on. Uh, we do a weekend recap if we go out of town to see our kids and grandkids, that type of deal. So yeah, we just invite you to connect with us, right? The more you connect with us, the more you can see if I'm the type of person that you want to do business with. I get it. If I'm not your type of person, I'm not gonna cry about that. But for those of you, who hear me, and you think that I'm your type of person, the type of person you'd like to do business with, uh, let me know. I'm kind of from the old school where it's like a handshake type deal. I'm gonna look you straight in your eyes and kind of make a firm commitment. If I screw up, I'm gonna own it. Those types of deals. Do everything I can to make it right. I wish I could sit here and say, hey, I'm betting 1,000. I always get it right. Uh, I get a kick out of commercials like that, right? I heard a commercial on TV where it's like, if you want it done right the first time, call so and so, right? And man, I wish I could do it. Like sometimes I just mess up and I got to reprint, right? And maybe by the time the customer gets it, it's gonna, it's gonna look right. They're not gonna know it, but it's like, I'll misprint and then do it again, and you'll never know anything about it. So, it's one of those things. It's like it makes it look like you never mess up, and everybody messes up, everybody. And so, but anyways, that's all for now. I'm rambling on. Follow us, connect with us. If we could compete for your business, send us a direct message, give us a call, stop by, email, whatever it is, and we would love to compete for your business. But that's Ruben Escalona with another episode of Story Time with the Rootster. Signing off.